let's go ahead and put our hands together for Ken Huang.
I may have to do demo. Maybe I have to go back to the laptop. My topic is more like in the this agentic area, what the risk management should be. I think CISO already have too much things to do. The cloud security is still not solving problem, right? All this identity access management, application security, now agentic AI coming. What we should do? What is the risk management, right? Little bit. Recently, I just have a new book coming up, a Securing AI Agent, just released a few days ago, talking about different perspective for agentic AI and how can we secure it. I think it's relevant to what today's topic, and thanks Zenity for organize this. I think it's the opportunity for everyone to learn, and for me also. I think everyone is a student, right? It's a lot of things coming, like every few days there's a new agentic AI framework coming out, and a new model coming, new application, how we secure it, right? New browser agent, Comic recently released the agent, right? The browser agent, people already find out some vulnerabilities, indirect prompt injection. Let's see. Actually, there is a really good framework called the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. It's really a broad, structured way to manage the risk. It's a volunteer framework. It's not mandatory, right? But it has a lot of scope. It's in addition to security, it's also talking about the society ethics, the other area of the safety issue. My focus here today is really on the security. We're not talking about society ethics. So what I look at this, the NIST framework, it has 4 different functions of phases, right? One is govern, another is map, then can measure, and then manage. In terms of governance, it's the initial stage, like you decide how do you govern. It's the rules, engagement, the responsibilities. And we actually had some work in Cloud Security Alliance. I co-chair the AI organization working group. And we published 3 white papers over the last 2 years. We started November 2023. And the first white paper we published is the AI organization responsibility for the core security, the model security, the data security. And all the 3 papers were coming. The second paper was the governance, risk, and compliance with the culture aspect. I think David just talked about culture is very important. And the third is on the tools, agentic AI applications. But there is common themes for this governance framework we propose in the 3 white papers. And one is really on the what we call the RACI model, right? The who is responsible, who is accountable, who is consulted, who is informed. And also the high-level implementation guide. And then we try to map to the different framework. Like you have the NIST AI IMF framework, you have OWASP, you have the ISO, you have EU AI Act, we try to map it to it. So that is actually the work we did. And then the map, I will go a little bit deep into it. We basically have a MAESTRO framework currently adopted by Cloud Security Alliance as the official framework. It's really do the threat modeling. The threat modeler tool called the AIVSS risk tool, which has a major market share as a threat modeler tool, right? They actually adopt our framework for the AI vulnerabilities. And then we have the AIVSS project. It's trying to measure the risk. It's hard, right? It's hard to measure the risk, but if you do not measure it, how can you manage it, right? If you, it's a prerequisite, so you have to measure it. We propose this approach. It's ongoing work, and then the management. The management, it's red teaming is a part of it. David has talked about the key idea is you have to red teaming early and red teaming often. Yeah, so this is the framework, but this is the 3 white paper we publish in terms of the core security, the GRC, and also the tools and applications. Take a look. It's give you some of guidance of how you govern the agentic AI and also generative AI applications. In terms of a MAESTRO framework, the MAESTRO framework, the idea is really for the multiple agent system, right? How do you threat model it? And how do you cover your base? So the idea is really you need to look at a reference architecture. We have 7-layer reference architecture. The top layer, if you look another way, it's bottom layer. It's the model itself, right? If the model you use is shaky, like it's insecure, it could potentially cause the agentic AI misbehavior, right? And if you use the open source model or versus the closed source model, you need to look at system card or model card, or if you build your own model, you need red teaming it, and it could have different threat profile. So this is the foundation model. Then, if you build your agentic AI applications, you need the data layer, right? Data is very important. You may use vector database. You may call an API, and you may just using the local resource file system, right? So that is the data layer. Data layer could also potentially have the vulnerabilities, and you need a red teaming, or you need a threat model it. And we have so many agentic AIs. The third level is really the agentic AI framework. We have so many framework, at least 200 framework, I would say. I see it like every few days you can see there's a framework coming up, right? The top one could be LangGraph, AutoGen, Clue AI, right? And OpenAI, Agent SDK, Claude is coming, right? And Microsoft, of course, is big. It has the AutoGen before. Now it included with a semantic kernel, I think. It now has a new agent framework. So there's many, like IBM, Cisco, every big vendors, every open source. I build a multiple agent system. You can just instantiate a multiple agent system through a YAML file. That's what I built. Open source it, but don't use it. It's not a production ready. It's just trying to test how it works. Using a kind of DAG graph, right? But there's so many. But none of this framework is built for security. That's the framework built for orchestration and communication. So how agent delegate the task to another agent, not like securely, just delegate, right? So that's why we need a threat model, right, to see where potential could be the vulnerability. Actually, in ISA conference, April this year, I proposed a framework. That framework actually Microsoft Research referenced it as well, right? I call the Zero Trust Agent framework. So if you have the LangGraph, AutoGen, I think also OpenAI, I have 3 frameworks there. I put an adapter. The adapter is the authentication, authorization, and monitoring adapter. So if you're using AutoGen, you can using this adapter, and it's add some security on top of it, right? So, but you basically have to go through it. If I can demo it, I will demo it. I have the open source tool as well. And then you can see on this level. Then if you build your agent application, eventually you need to deploy it. You can deploy using Kubernetes or EKS, different your own server, right? All this could potentially have the vulnerability. So you need to cover your base. See if in the EKS, what the potential could be, right? How do you manage the keys? All this is some additional thing you need to think. And then the evaluation of the agent is really important. It's hardest thing. I think it's like I recently published a LinkedIn post to say, what is the top 10 moat? The moat, like if you're building your agent system, no one can compete with you, right? It's harder to compete. One of the moat is really you evaluate. Another is really secure, dependable, reliable, right? That's the moat. So evaluation is hard, but if also the observability, there's a lot of observability platform. How do you secure it? And how do you log it? All this could potentially have the consequence. So this is the next layer, is security and compliance layer. The reason why I put a distinctive security layer there is potentially you have the AI agent you can use for security, right? There's a question from someone about using AI agent for the AI. It's already happening. In Job Zone, for example, right? Job Zone have the SOC agent, right? And many actually security vendors is going into this space because you have to, I think Steve talked about that, right? You have to fight the AI security issue with AI because human is slow. AI is much faster. So especially in incident response, if you have to shut down the server or whatever to do the memory kind of capture all this, you need the machine, you need the agent to do it, right? So, but this also introduces additional security. So this layer is kind of tricky. It's a distinct layer, but it's every layer it has to be applied, right? From reference architecture perspective, but also from your security, like threat modeling perspective, right? And then you have the agent system, ecosystem. That's what I see. The world is moving towards the agent. There's no coming back. Like I will see there's speed bump. You may have some disaster happen if you are not not doing all this threat modeling, risk management, right? But the whole world is moving this way, the agentic way. And the majority of internet traffic will be agent. And agent economy is here. Gradually, maybe in 2 to 3 years you don't see. In 10 years it is here before you realize it, right? So you have the agent kind of advertising its capabilities, say, I can do what, right? How much is my price? So there's a price manipulation, and you have the impersonation of agent. So all this is a threat. So you need a threat to model it for that. So then you have question, why we cannot using like Strata, Pasta, LinkedIn? There's lots of threat modeling framework already there. Why cannot we just use that, right? Yes, you can use it, but it's not sufficient. The key idea is all those threat modeling is used for deterministic computation. We are in the non-deterministic agentic AI time now, right? The whole computing platform is shifting from deterministic to non-deterministic. It's good, actually. The world is non-deterministic, right? The whole world is, right? So it's good, actually, in terms of the direction, but security is really important. Safety is also, right? Eventually, we have to talk about safety. But from Cloud Security Alliance or OWASP, we are more focused on the security aspect. So non-determinism is one autonomy, especially for agent. If agent cannot make its own decision or execute some tool to make actions, then it's not agent. That's not in our sense, right? So agent, you must give a little bit of level for autonomy. It could be, maybe full autonomy, it's hard, right? Full autonomy, some people argue that full autonomy is too dangerous. You should not give agent full autonomy, right? You have to have a human in the judge, or even LLM as a judge. But autonomy is one. It's the distinctive characteristic of the agent. So you do need make sure. And this all traditional threat modeling tool cannot do that, right? And also when you're using like a Pasta or Strata, those kind of threat modeling tool, you assume the trust boundary. You say, okay, this is my system. I have a data flow diagram, right? And I do the threat modeling. Everything outside of my trust boundary, there's other system. I do need to care about the connector, but the other system, we don't care. We are now in the world of agent economy. You will talk with another agent, like a Google A2A, right? The Google agent to agent. So you can have one agent in AWS, talk to another agent in GCP, which talk to another agent in the OCI, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Then it's coming back to Azure. It's possible. And where's your threat boundary? There's no threat boundary. So you basically have to use the MAESTRO framework. And identity, traditional, like if you're using OWASP or SIMO, you basically go through a configuration, like a client registration. Then you say, okay, for this application, I have this SIMO endpoint, right? And this mapping to the local identity, how to do mapping. All this is during the deployment time, right? That's not sufficient for agent, because the agent need do the task. It's goal-oriented. For this particular task, it can only assume a subset of human identity. So we call it non-human identity, or NHI, right? So for this particular task, it's ephemeral. It has to say, okay, given this goal, I'm the agent, I have this particular identity, which may assume subset. Example, like if it's a HR resource, his goal is to find the candidate and give a phone call if that candidate is good enough, right? So for this particular task, that agent has only the identity to access the database for resume and access to the email. It should not have access to the salary database, right? How much you pay for who, right? So this is different from like coarse-grained OAuth. OAuth is you have read-write access. Example, like if you have the access to a Google Doc, You have access to all the document. You cannot in the OWASP say, okay, I give you OWASP this scope for this particular document. There's no way, right? In the configuration, in the deployment time. So you have to actually enforce it using code or during the attribute-based access control. So something additional. And this breaks, right? That's why we cannot assume static identity, static policy management during deployment time. That's dynamic, and it's task-based, it's ephemeral, right? And then the threat profile will be different. More and more, the agent is now the multiple agent system, because research find that single agent system, usually, if you give too much task, it breaks down. It don't know how to do it, because context window, all this, right? So context engineering is important, but a multiple agent is important. Multiple agent is good, but it also introduces additional threat, right? Additional attack vectors, like Go manipulation. You can manipulate one agent to the Go, and then it can cascade to another agent, and eventually the Go changes, right? Using crescendo attack, all this. And also the blast radius, what we call. If one agent become rugged or become compromised, it can impact the other agent. So all this needs a new framework for it. So, yeah. Now coming back, if we look at the next framework, the govern, the map is really doing the threat modeling thing, right, as a tool. And then is the measure. How do we measure it? So we look at the traditional or deterministic computing world, like you have CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. It usually gives a score for the code vulnerability or misconfigurations. It does not give the scoring for the behavior, the semantic error, right? That's why we need the AI vulnerability scoring system. And it's one of the OWASP top project. We're coming up with version 0.5. And also we will have panel about that this afternoon at 2 or around 3 p.m. So I will just give some high level, because we will go deep into that during the panel. The key idea is really for agentic AI, we have some core security risk from agentic AI, like tool misuse, Go manipulation, right? Access control violation. How can we measure it? So we basically say based on CVSS base score, which is has a different version. We started with version 3, and eventually it didn't really work very well. So we end up now with version 4. It's using the kind of scoring vector, right, or vulnerability vector. And then we combine this with the agentic AI risk factor, right? Like autonomy, it's not a vulnerability, but it can amplify your risk. So the agentic AI, from vulnerability perspective, is we are more focused on the risk now, not just purely vulnerability. If you have a small supply chain vulnerabilities in your AutoGen example, I'm not picking Microsoft, right? Just AutoGen have a small vulnerability here. If your agent has autonomy, then your risk factor is right enlarged. So that's the idea. And we kind of, this is we have a tool. Some people implement it. Actually, it's a good tool, so we put it there. It's using the base score. Like here, you have a CVS base score 8.6, and then AIVSS is Agentic AI Risk Scoring, right? It's low, so you basically give it a medium risk. But if the AIVSS is high, it could be high, right? So this is the current measure. It's perfect? No. CVSS is also not perfect, right? So we're trying to give a tool for people to use it. So one is really using a numeric score, and we're also talking about using a decision tree. So in CVSS community, there's another initiative. It's called as the SSVC. It's more like using right, a stakeholder, right? It's using decision tree trying to do it. I think we need to do it as well. So we have initiative. It's a kind of a call for action for everyone interested. It's ongoing, right? So the idea is we still have this tool as a numeric score, but we have a decision tree based as well for prioritize to make a decision to which one to really have to fix, right, in terms of security. So this is the AIVSS, and we have version 0.5, and we will publish the V1 sometime next year, I think before April. So you still have time to contribute. We have many people. We have more than 200 people contributed so far, from academia, from top AI companies, from AI security companies, right? So yeah, you can still contribute. I think it will be doing good for the community. And red teaming, so we publish this as the guide. That guide is really give more kind of specification or requirement, what you need to test it. Like we have 12 different categories of agentic AI threat, possible threat or possible risk. Then for each risk, like AI control, example like control hijacking, what do you need to test? What is the requirement, right? What are potential prompt you can use? And so that is the guide. This way you actually work with the OWASP AI Exchange. So it's between the Cloud Security Alliance and OWASP AI Exchange. We're coming up with this guide. And also I built a tool for that. So hopefully, I think we cannot demo it, but I have the link, right? So we can demo it later. But this is the MAESTRO tool. You can actually get this from my GitHub. It's moved to Cloud Security Alliance because it's now officially the Cloud Security Alliance framework. So it may be still there, but the latest one is in the Cloud Security Alliance. You can just search GitHub Cloud Security Alliance. You do it. And yeah, like if I click here, I cannot. Can I? Is it possible to? No? Okay. Yeah. So then there is demo there, and it will go through the tool to do the threat model for you. Yeah. See if you can do it. Yeah, actually, yeah. Continue there. Actually, yeah, this one is actually pre-recorded, so you go down. If you can go down here, yeah, continue. Continue, they have lots of recording. And it should be MAESTRO, yeah. Let's live now, yeah, this one. The MAESTRO framework. If you can click this one and play now. It's coming up as this, and then the live demo here.
In this AI. Welcome, Ken. How are you?
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Anto.
Yeah, so here, the live demo.
I hear a lot about threat modeling lately, even for the classic environments. That's a skill that's often
if we say get started.
Yeah, so this is a MAESTRO tool that I developed. It's open source. You can get a clone the repo. But I just want to give you a demo.
I think
this
we don't
one
have
coming
time.
with like some of the preset
anyway,
use case.
Here,
I
only have 10 seconds. I want to leave for question. Maybe one quick question.
Financial trading. You can
Any questions?
select the other. So this one basically it has.
Yes.
high frequency training system.
What would you say for the use case of where it's not developers that are submitting AI agents, but the end user? Our platform, we're allowing consumers to submit their own code, and now I'm covering the issue of how do I evaluate code from developers outside of the organization.
So you have platform. People can submit the code
Yeah, they can
to your platform.
some rules of sanitization and guardrails, and right now the end user is able to deploy freely, and the next challenge is we need to find a way similar to the MAESTRO model to evaluate consumer submitted development code.
Yeah, citizen development. I think you need a review. Carla is here. So we have the OWASP kind of top 10 for citizen development, right? Yeah, so it's for low code and no code, and it is slightly different because the MAESTRO is look at the whole architecture. You are looking at more like a code, right? So yes, I think it's more relevant is really the. She's not here, but there is a OWASP project called a Low Code and No Code Top 10. Yeah, it's called a citizen development. I think that's it. We can talk maybe later. Yeah, cool. Thank you.